Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about what I wish new medical coders understood about the job seeking process. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys, if you are a brand new coder, you just got your certification or you finished your medical coding program and you're wondering like, uh-oh, everybody's asking for 3 to 5 years of experience. Here's the thing. Everything that you go through in this career field is for a reason, all right? And sometimes I will get the response of, well, Blue, if people won't hire me to work for money, maybe I should just work for free because I need to get some experience and volunteering is the best way I can do it. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not ever in an industry that is totally capable of paying you. The health information industry is worth a lot of money, okay? And people that are in this industry know better. They know that coders have to know a lot. They know that billers have to know a lot. They have to have technical skill, okay? And so that's why you should never, ever try to cheat yourself as far as like, oh, well, I'm just going to give away my skills so that this employer can write me a letter and say that I have all this experience. Doesn't mean that they will write the letter and doesn't mean that they will let you go either. Because you are actually giving away a skill for free. And who better than to keep on than somebody who is not, dipping in on the payroll. That means they get to keep more money. So this is what I say all the time. And I say this and I'm going to keep saying it because people are always going to think about this. So I posted this on LinkedIn and it got a response from, one of the people on LinkedIn. And the way that I'm looking at this is that there is a fundamental part that is missing, this understanding part. So I'm going to read this, I'm going to read their comment, and then I'm going to explain. And I said, stop with the should I volunteer as a medical coder? No one wants to hire me without experience. I feel I should do this. No, you have a valuable, expensive skill. You keep applying until you find your job. Never give away your skills for free. Stop thinking you can shortcut your way into getting experience. You will find a job. Stop being so scared to apply even when they're asking for 3 to 5 years of experience. If happy coders are in the area, they are not moving. The employer will call those who are applying, and that's how you get in. I said what I said, speaking from experience, okay? So the person says, I love this, but, there's always a but. There's always a but. Don't you also think that the industry needs to adapt to change, or maybe AHIMA and AAPC and the colleges that are making money off the coding education courses take a bit more responsibility for placing people in entry-level companies? Okay, let's backtrack here. First, don't put words in my mouth, okay? That's first of all. Second of all, I said, I don't think AHIMA or AAPC bears any responsibility in this situation. Why? Because they are the medical coding associations. They are very upfront. This is what we do. This is what we teach. This is who we are. This is what we're doing. The American Health Information Management Association is a nonprofit organization that is very involved with the lawmaking process. And a lot of these things are involved with the colleges that offer the programs for the degrees. And they're the ones who hold the degree designations, the RHIT and the RHIA. Okay, that is their thing. Do they have products teaching and educating on their website? Absolutely. Do they ever make any claims to say we're going to help you get a job? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Their job as an organization is to educate people about medical coding and to be there in the lawmaking process and doing all those things. AAPC, the American Academy of Professional Coders, is a for-profit organization. They make money, okay? They don't have the same restrictions as an organization like AHIMA with their nonprofit status. AAPC is a for-profit organization, meaning that, yes, they are involved with making money because they are a business. And what they do is they educate people about medical coding and health information. They have their own CEUs as well that they require of their people to be able to maintain these certifications, because again, it's all part of a business. They have their many credentials that are often duplicated in the CPC, but that's none of my business, okay? But I'm just saying, The thing about it is they're a business. And again, they never make claims that say, oh, yes, we'll help you get a job. They do have educational products on their website, just like they have their own coding education. They have their own their own Practicode, right? Practicode is an educational product that they say is equivalent in their organization. It is equivalent to 1 year worth of experience. This is not work experience. This is what AAPC is saying, that this is what it's like if you complete our Practicode program, that this is what it would be like if you were out in the real world in a job. This is what you would be doing, okay? This is how many you would be coding. This is their average. So they want you to get that feel. It is an educational product. It is not meant to be like, okay, well, this is experience, okay? So I said, my response to this thing was, I said, I don't think that AHEMA or AAPC bears responsibility in this situation. I do think that it's on the schools that teach, the ones that teach, right? Medical coding, that have a bigger responsibility in preparing students for the real world, so that the employers won't immediately dismiss new people for lacking knowledge. This is where the schools come into play, because the schools have made that vow. Yes, we're going to teach you, and we're going to, some of them will say, okay, well, we'll help you get in, and we'll help you find an entry-level job. It isn't always in coding. Sometimes it's in like secretarial work, which does not fit either. Okay, don't do that, because you're not going to be using your skill. But these schools, especially these shameful schools that are 2 months, oh yes, we can teach you how to be a medical biller and coder in just 2 months, or 4 months, and you'll be on your way to making all these high dollars. They jingle all these things in front of brand new people who don't do their research, and then they get them to spend thousands of dollars with their school, and they give them all of the educational products that they say, like books or whatever, or classes or whatever, and they did their part. Sometimes they'll offer you a job, and sometimes they won't. It's not their responsibility, but it is their responsibility to prepare people, because that's what they're supposed to be doing, is preparing people. And that's where a lot of these schools fall short, because they get people roped in, and they say, oh yeah, 2 months or 4 months. And especially for my nurses, they like to target the nurses and say, oh, well, yes, because you're already a nurse, it's going to be so easy for you. No, it's not. It's absolutely not going to be so easy for you just because you're a nurse. Nursing and medical coding are two different things. Two very completely different things. And we have rules, and we have all of these things that we have to do. Now, yes, nurses have advanced clinical knowledge, and that is fantastic. That is really great, because it's very helpful to be able to read and interpret all this documentation. But it doesn't necessarily mean that medical coding is going to be like second nature to nurses. Okay? And the second thing I said, I also don't believe that people should be placed in jobs just because they are new. They need to earn it on their own and find their own job as part of the professional shaping process. People can't be coddled too much because it won't help them to survive in the working world. Now, why did I say that? This is the thing, guys. When you are, just take for example, a child that is handed everything. The child never has to work for anything, right? They're given a trophy. They fail a class. They get a C minus in the class, right? Oh, you did a fantastic job. You did so great. That's so wonderful. And, you did great. And, oh, they get a D. It's okay. You're still here. It's all right. You failed, but that's all right. So they never feel like they earned anything, right? Because they're going to get a trophy anyway. They're going to get whatever they want anyway. Everything has been made so easy for these children. And what happens to those children when they become adults? They become entitled. They are spoiled. They don't know how to find a job in the working world. They don't know how to do all of these things. And then they end up being dependent on somebody else to take care of them, because they never got those skills. They never learned those skills to be able to defend themselves and defend their work, or to be able to say, you know what? I lost on this one, but I just have, that means I have to try harder if I want a trophy, or if I want first place, or if I want to be in the top 3. I have to work harder. There's people out there that do this to their children, and then they wonder why their children are not able to do all these great and wonderful things. When you have a little bit of uncomfortableness in your life, what does it make you do? It makes you do something that is going to undo that feeling, right? We want to be able to feel good. Well, how do we do that? By working hard, not by having everything handed to us. Now, yes, there's nothing wrong with a little hand up here or there when we really need it, when we're really down and out. But when you are out there and you are getting into this industry requires knowledge, it requires skill, and it requires you to be able to say, you know what? I learned this. I learned all of this. I spent the time learning. I took the time to learn and all of these things. And I'm going to get out here. I'm going to find my job. What am I presenting to the world when I'm out here looking for a job? My resume is 3 to 4 or 5 pages. Well, that's my first mistake, because that's showing that I don't know what these employers are looking for. They want 1 page, you get right to the point. Yes, you can go 2 pages, but I think as a brand new coder, you should never have 2 pages. It should always be 1 page. It needs to be 1 page. It needs to be right to the point. It needs to go back no more than 10 or 15 years, because they don't need to know that you worked in, that you worked in the early 2000s, or that you worked in the 90s, or that you even worked in the 80s. I've seen those before too. They don't need to know that. And all of that stuff is so far outdated. Okay? So it is about being out there. And yes, you may have to struggle, because you're going to be learning the industry. You're going to be learning the ins and outs. You're going to be learning these things. But I'm here to tell you that when you follow this advice, I've given this advice to so many people, and the ones that actually listen to it are the ones that are finding their jobs. Oh, you know what, Blue, you were right. The tips that you gave on virtual interviews, you were right. The thing about, going and applying, and even though there's 3 to 5 years experience required, I still did it. And guess what? I still got hired. There's a reason for those things. But if everything was just so easily handed to you, spoon-fed to you, coddled and everything else, you wouldn't learn to appreciate those things, right? And there's people that do appreciate the help, and I get that response as well too, and that's a fantastic response. Then I get those that will say, well, I'm looking for tips because I'm going on vacation and I need to know how I can study. Okay, you can download the guidelines, you can listen to the guidelines. And instead of just saying thank you and moving on, no, I get, oh, well, the voice is so monotone, it's trouble for me to concentrate. Ungrateful. That's ungratefulness. So again, just like if the schools were to give you a job and you were out there, oh, well, I don't really like this and I don't really want to do this, and ungrateful. So start being grateful for what you do have. For those schools that do offer placement jobs and entry-level positions, that's fantastic. But you're not going to be at this high pay scale, because these people that hire these brand new people from these schools, a lot of times these are just like testing type positions where they're just kind of like getting the people like the feel of the industry and things. And so that's why they do it. And it's not meant to be a long-term job. It's just meant to get them started. It's the same thing that you got to do. It's just the same thing that you got to do, but you got to do this on your own. So no, I don't believe that people should be handed their first job. I do believe that they should look for it so that they can feel like they earned it, so that they can appreciate what they have. Because when we hand feed all these people these things, it's not going to make them be able to sustain themselves and into the future. As far as like, if I was to just hand feed everybody everything, that's not teaching you guys to fish. It's not. And it's the same thing with this idea here that, oh yeah, well, don't you think that the schools and them bear responsibility? No, they do not, because they're doing what they said that they would do. It is the schools that bear the responsibility, but it is also the responsibility of the new coder to know what they're getting into and to be able to prepare themselves in a way that makes them successful when they're out there. Because this whole industry is filled with people that do not have the basic competence past the test They have no competence. And there are schools out there who teach testing techniques so that people can pass the test. And oh yes, we have a really high pass rate on our testing scores because we helped all these people to pass. No, you taught them techniques. You taught them process of elimination. You taught them all of those things. You didn't teach them critical thinking. You didn't teach them the fundamental rules of reading the coding guidelines and doing the practices and doing all these things. You didn't teach them that. And you're setting them up to fail as those schools, right? Those schools are. And then it's just a big old cycle that starts all over again. Oh, well, I can't find a job and this was all, I wasted money. And I had a teacher, somebody, not a teacher for coding, but they were a retired teacher that said, well, I feel like I wasted all this money. You're a teacher. You didn't do your research. There wasn't anything that you said, well, it's just so hard. I can't find an entry-level job. Stop looking for an entry-level job. Because when you see entry-level in the job listing, you don't think about 1,000 people are going to be applying for that same job too? Because they're just like you, looking for an entry-level position. It doesn't matter if they're asking for 3 to 5 years experience. You come in there with no experience, they're going to know that you're entry-level. There's no difference. There's no difference. You're gonna still be in the same job probation period, right? Like 90 days. Some it's a year, right? That you're going to be on this job probation, and then you're going to be, trying to get your way. Everybody is the same. Everybody is the same, whether you have experience or whether you don't have experience. And just because you're brand new doesn't mean that you don't have the competency to be able to get into these jobs. Because like I tell y'all have to continue to study, because when you do get out there and you are applying for these jobs, and if you can't pass a basic assessment test, you will not get a call back. But those that are listening and do pass those assessment tests, those are the ones that you say, you know what? We are so desperate right now, we're going to give you a chance. And that's how you get your way in. But it's not going to be hand-fed to you. It will not be hand-fed to you. No matter what anybody tells you. No matter if it's the schools, no matter if it's somebody on Reddit, no matter if it's somebody on anywhere, right? There's always going to be a challenge. And if everything was just so easy, then everybody could do it, and it would be meaningless after a while, because then everybody could do it. But if you actually want to devote your time to learning and devote your time to getting in and still applying and being persistent and keeping after it, instead of just getting so discouraged right away and then thinking that it's okay to make comments like this where you say, well, it's the industry's fault. It's always somebody else's fault, right? When we start putting the blame on other people, guess what happens? We surrender our own power. We surrender our own power, because all of a sudden, then we are the victims, and it's everybody else's fault but our own. And I don't go for that. Not on my channel. Not anywhere on any of my channels. I do not go for that. That's why I try to teach y'all so much, and so my drum beat is so loud where I say that you have to prepare yourself. You have to be able to do these things. And I know that you can do it because I did it. So if I'm able to do it, I know that you can do it. Okay? So that's why I say what I say. No, I don't think people should be coddled to get their first job. No, I don't think that giving up is an option. When you're out there and you're applying and you're getting repeated rejections, or you're not even getting a call back, you need to look at what you're presenting to the world. Then you need to look at the fact that, are you passing these assessment tests or not? Because not everything's going to be made easy for you. Not everything's going to be handed to you. But when you work for it and you do finally get your job, those are the people that are going to do a lot, because they're so energized that they got their position, they got, their job, and they're moving on up, and they're doing all these things. And even if that job is what they decide that they don't want, maybe they got into a risk adjustment position, and the risk adjustment position is just diagnosis coding, and so they feel like, oh, I'm going to lose my CPT coding skill and E&M coding skill. I better use this time wisely, get my experience with the electronic health record, and move on. And that's exactly what you have to do. And stop having this mentality of, oh, it's everybody else's fault but my own. No, Everybody bears responsibility here as far as like new coders go. And there's so many videos on my channel where I talk about resume tips. I talk about where to find your first job, which positions to apply for, which clinics would give you the most exposure to the most clinics or the most specialties in the shortest amount of time. And yet, you know, I still get those comments, well, can you leave the link? Because you can't do your research. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It makes the newer people be so dependent on people handing things to them, and I will not do it. I will not do it. There's a lot of things that I will not do. I will not be on TikTok. I will not make these little short, little clippy things for y'all to learn on, because to me, it's when you do that, it makes a mockery of our industry, because you can't learn this quickly. And when people start understanding that, then things are going to be a lot more clearer for you. I'm just saying. But with that said, when you get into this industry and you see all of these things and it wasn't what you expect, you need to have some patience. And patience is a virtue that is being lost more and more every single day. And it's frightening, because when you think about, like, okay, you know, all these people are coming up that they want little quick things. They want them now, they want them now, they want them now. And nobody's patient anymore. But if you learn to have a little bit of patience, you might be surprised about what you have in store, all of the good things that you can experience in life, all the good things that can happen to you when you have a little bit of patience and a little bit of creativity on your own, a little bit of when you assert your critical thinking. And when you hear things like, oh, no, it's going to go away, it's going to do this, it's going to do that, and then you do your research and you find out that's not true, it will completely turn everything around for you. So while I will continue to help people, I will continue to make these videos, I will continue to do all the things that I can to help this new generation of medical coders coming in, I will still say, and a lot of y'all won't like it, that you need to do this. You need to do your own research. You need to be able to not be so discouraged right away. You need to not have things handed to you. Now, if you are given something, advice, really good advice, or you're given an opportunity, then you seize that opportunity with both hands. You are grateful for that good information that was given to you. That was given to you with the hopes that you will use it, and not sit here and say, oh, well, no, it's this and it's that, and oh, this print is small and I can't see, or the voice is so monotone it puts me to sleep. Those things don't matter. That's when you do that, that's putting out ungrateful energy into the universe with this, and that's not what you want to do. I'm just saying. So with that said, best of luck to you guys out there. If you are new, you will find a job. Just go through the videos and follow my advice and apply even though they're asking for experience. Stop trying to work for free. It doesn't make sense to work for free in an industry that is totally capable of paying you. And if they say, well, we don't have the budget for right now for that, and we don't have the budget for this, and we don't have the money for that, then is that the place that you want to be? At a place where they can't manage their money in a multi-million-dollar industry, billions-dollar industry rather, in a practice who's making millions of dollars a year, you can't see fit to manage your budget and pay your employees, or pay that secretary that you put into a secretary position knowing full well that they wanted to be a medical coder, and then they're giving you their skill for free, and oh yeah, let's just leave her as a coder because not only is she doing her secretarial work really well because the patients love her, but she's also doing the coding. She's doing double the job for the pay that's not going to ever match a coder. Think about that. Stop putting yourselves in that position, okay? Stop doing it. It's not worth it, because they can pay you. They can. And you will get experience. You just have to keep applying and quit listening to people that are out there saying things they clearly don't know what they're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I've been in this industry for 16 years. Been there, done that, got a t-shirt. A lot more experience than a lot of these other people out there just running their mouth thinking that they know and they don't know. I'm just saying. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.